कोई बात नहीं, कोई बात नहीं, होता रहता है। हाँ जी, now we are done. Okay, cool. So you can see the event on the YouTube channel. Okay. Bye bye. Thanks. Hey guys, this is Madhav, and I know there was some delay in setting things up. I guess there was some delay from there were some technical issues from the back end of the organizers, but finally we have started. And today I'm going to talk about your roadmap to web development. And if you have any doubt, you can ask me in the comments. So there will be live chat at the side. And I just wanted to ask, whatever language you are comfortable with, I can speak in that. So just tell me, like, should I speak in Hindi or should I speak in English? Whatever you're comfortable in, just write it in the chat section. I'll wait for a few minutes. All right, so if I see no comments in the chat, so are you all comfortable with English? If you're all comfortable with English, I'll just start off with English itself and I'll just start this in another minute. Great. So you can find this presentation on madhavbahel.tech/sstc and you'll see this presentation and you can refer to this presentation uh, after the webinar itself. And awesome. So I can see all the, okay. So I'm still confused. Some of you said yes. Yes to Hindi or yes to English? Great. So we'll continue with English. All right. So thanks a lot, everyone, for coming here, and thank you so much, ACM, for organizing this event. And just a little bit tips. I mean, if you guys can set up the things more smoothly, it will go more smoothly from next time. And okay, so Ashish suggested me to go in English. Sure thing, Ashish. I'll try to. I'll try to move in both of them. So yes, thanks a lot, ACM chapter, for organizing this event and calling me. And yes, do the setup a little early from next time so that we guys so that everything can go on smoothly. So yes, but since already it's been 25 minutes late, so let me quickly go through the webinar content so that without wasting another moment. So all right, so you guys can have this visit this presentation here, madhavbahel.tech/sstc. So today, what are we going to discuss? We are going to discuss why you should be choosing web development as your domain. I think that you can select any domain. It can be web development, it can be Android development, it can be machine learning, data science, artificial intelligence, network security, computer vision, cyber security, competitive programming, and there are so many different choices of domains to take. There are so many, there are endless, but I will tell you, so every domain have its own pros and cons. Like Android development, its pros is there are a lot of audience who use Android phones. So Android development has that pro, but the con is that in Android you might need a hardware which can support Android Studio. So yes, firstly I'll be going through why you should be selecting web development as your domain, and then I'll be giving you a small roadmap to web development. Then I'll be telling you some technologies. If you are already familiar with the basics, that is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, you should go for these technologies for 2020. And then we can talk a little bit about the community. So yes, for more information, you can read this article as well. It's there in the slides. The slides are again madhavbahel.tech/sstc. Great. So why meetups and webinar? I'll just quickly go through this. So as I said, I'll be interacting with you guys through the chat in through the live chat. And if you guys have any question in between, just feel free to ping me. Just use the chat section to type in your question, and I'll definitely try to answer each of your queries if time permits. So yes, great. So why web development? So first of all thing, whatever you do, you must be able to answer this question why. So I always have this suggestion, why, start with why, then go to what are you going to do it, and then go to how. So start off with why. If you're selecting any domain, any particular thing you are selecting to spend your time on, you should be clear with this question, why are you doing that? And once you're clear with that, yeah, your motivation to do that will be intrinsic. So yes, there are many reasons you should learn web development. It's very good marketable skill that you can use to generate a good income. So yes, it's not at all limited to college degree. Even school children can, even the people in school right now can actually start off with web development. Laptop and internet are the bare bones required. Basically, like I started off telling you my journey, I started off with Android development, but for 2 months, I keep trying Android, but unfortunately, my laptop did not support Android Studio. So I was quite annoyed, like why should we do that? But then again, then my one of my seniors told me, like, if your laptop isn't that good, you should probably try web development, because the only thing that you do is need is a laptop, a web browser, a text editor, and an internet connection. Even internet connection is needed at the later stages. You, like, once you're learning CSS and HTML and JavaScript, you might even be okay, working offline. So yes, and the best thing, earn as you learn. You can explore various opportunities like freelancing, entrepreneurship. You can start off your own business, an online business, let's say e-commerce website, and so on. And of course, there are thousands of millions of jobs in web development. You can build applications which you dreamt of. Great. So I just saw the comment of Khushi. Thank you so much, Khushi, for calling me. And cool, Kushi. Yes, I'll keep it completely English oriented. Cool, definitely. So yes, more. So these were the basics of why you should choose web as your domain, but there are much more than that. So let's go to more things. So yes, by doing web, you won't be limited to web itself. You will be using the technologies you learned while doing web development. You can build Android apps as well. You can build iOS apps. You can build cross-platform. You can build desktop apps. So there are these things called hybrid apps and progressive web apps, and using building native. I understood, Kushi. I will be doing it in English. Okay, I read that again. Okay, cool. Sorry, I just read the comment once again. So yeah, I'm so sorry. Cool. So yes, by learning web development, you won't be limited to building websites. You can build the Android apps. You can build so many apps and even native apps using the technologies you learned in web development, like JavaScript or HTML and so on. So yeah, mobile application development is now possible with the web technologies. So you can just go through that in the, so there are various technologies, like in JavaScript there are various frameworks like React Native, Ionic, Cordova. So React Native actually compiles down to the native Java code when we run it in the Android, and basically it compiles down our app to the native environment. So yeah, you once you are very good in web development, you won't even need Java or Kotlin or Swift or Objective C to build the native applications. So yes, PWA, some examples of PWA, Trivago, Pinterest. So what is a PWA? Giving you a simple bit of example. So progressive web apps are web apps only which can actually give a look and feel of a mobile Android app. So yes, just go to these websites, Trivago, Pinterest, or Tinder, or OLX, or Starbucks, and just turn off your internet, and you'll see that these websites will still work. These websites will still give you the look and feel of mobile applications, because generally mobile applications are packages which you can download on your phone and run offline as well. So yes, PWAs are that very similar to that, and you can even make a shortcut of PWAs on your desktop so that it completely looks like a web app, a mobile app. So yes, and apps using React Native. So you might not be knowing that Instagram was made using React Native, and React Native is again, you can code it out in JavaScript, which was initially supposed to be web technology. So yes, once you are familiar with web technology, you can build mobile and native apps as well. So yes, if you guys have any questions till now, just ping me on the chat, and I would love to take on your questions. And definitely, you guys can ask me anything like what is a PWA, what are the technologies that are into the market these days, and how can you start applying for jobs or freelancing. I want this session to be completely interactive so that you guys can ask me and I can answer to your doubts and so on. So yeah, just don't keep it limited to me speaking and you listening. Keep interacting with me so that we both the sides can actually learn more. So yeah. All right, so let's start this journey. And before starting, there's this one advice which I give to everyone. So before starting anything, make sure you have a sort of roadmap. It doesn't need to be a a roadmap with very minute details, but you can have the roadmap with an overview or with a sort of overview of what all technologies you will be learning, what all the things you will be doing, and so on. So let me take a simple example. Let's say you are sailing a ship, and you just left off the harbor, but you're not knowing where is your destination. So at the end, chances are 99% that you will be, maybe even more, that you will be just stranded in the ocean and you won't be knowing where to go from here. So yes, before starting any journey, uh, it's very important to start off with web development. So yes, I just saw that Twinkle asked me a question: what languages have to be done to pursue web development? Very good question, Twinkle. We will be coming off to that. So yes, from this at the starting, you guys can go with HTML, CSS, and JS, which is JavaScript. HTML is a markup language; it's not a scripting language. CSS is cascading style sheets, which is for used for styling, and JS is JavaScript, which is actually the programming language which you guys should use for web development. But once you go to backend, so these were basically for front end. Once you start your journey as a full stack web developer, once you go into backend, you guys can have many options like Ruby, Golang, PHP, Java, C Sharp, and so on. Every language supports backend scripting. So yes, but still, I always prefer Java. So yeah, I'll be telling you all that in the roadmap itself. Let's start. So the first thing is you need to get your toolkit ready. So at this stage, probably you are an absolute beginner into coding or development. Need to know what are you going to do. So first things first, before starting coding, it's very important to set up your dev environment. So before moving on, let me just answer one more question. So Kaushal asked me that, does full stack web development is necessary, or one must stick to his domain of backend or front end? It's completely your choice, Kaushal. So basically what happens is there are equally as many opportunities in backend as there are in front end. So you can stick with one, you can stick with uh, both, or you can explore both but be master of one. So generally what I prefer, what I did myself, and what I prefer is that explore both of them but be a master of one. So in my starting journey itself, I explored front end, built a couple of projects, and made a website which went live as well, which was live for 2 years, and there was a huge traffic on that website as well, and I was super glad that it was my first website. So yes, I started off with front end, and then I moved on to back end. I started exploring back end. For a couple of months I explored back end. I did 5 or 6 projects in back end. And then I made the choice which one should I choose, and then I chose front end. I learned various frameworks like Angular and React, and I proceeded with that. So I chose front end as my major domain. But yes, still you can choose any one of that, and you can might be choosing both of them, or you might choose neither of them. You might want to go into network security after learning web dev. So what you choose, it's completely your choice, Kaushal. But I would suggest that first, before making your final decision, explore both. First explore front end, then explore back end, then choose one or choose both according to you. So yes, we were at here exploring Coder's toolkit. So what all things will you require? So web development is maybe the only, or it's a type of domain which requires the most minimal setup. You don't need any high-end hardware. You don't need any big softwares. All you need is a simple text editor. First of all, you need is a laptop, basic need. Then you need a good web browser, Chrome. I suggest Chrome. But yes, these days I've been trying Firefox as well. Firefox is good. Chrome basically eats up a lot of RAM, so I am slowly shifting off Chrome. But yes, why I've written Chrome or maybe Chrome, because once you go into progressive web apps and all those things, so you'll see that the developer tools provided by Chrome are quite helpful. So I still suggest Chrome for development. But yes, for using exploring and surfing net, I am preferring Edge these days. Edge is quite cool, and it's not very much RAM intensive. So yes, it's not very heavy. A good text editor. Do not use Notepad or Notepad plus plus. It's very I mean, it's your wish, but I don't prefer it. So I use code Visual Studio Code, VS Code, but which one should you choose? It's completely up to you. Here are three most used ones: Atom, Sublime Text, VS Code. I use VS Code. You can ignore this for now. This you can base you this you will be requiring um, at the later stages of your development. So yes, Vaibhav, thank you. Okay, so now we can actually, so once your toolkit is set up, we can actually start where and how to actually code, lights, camera, code. Just give me a second. Great. So at this time, mostly you are having a good toolkit, which is a laptop, a web browser, an internet connection, and a text editor. I suggest Visual Studio Code. So yes, once you have this thing set up, you can start coding. You can start up learning HTML5 and CSS. Basically, I've seen people spending a lot of their time in cramming the tags which are there in HTML. Like they'll just go through and try to memorize all the tags. You don't actually need to do that. Just go through HTML tags. Just go through the main concept, which is the box model and all those things within 1 or 2 days, and jump on to CSS. It actually took me just 2 or 3 days to get a good grasp of HTML and CSS. CSS might take a little bit more time, but yes, you can still do it very fast. More Actually, the thing is, you don't need to memorize anything. You can actually get a hold of these syntax and so on while doing the projects. So yes, Mehak asked that how do we have a content marketing package? I don't understand what do you mean by package. But yes, you might be referring to SEO and all of those things. So this is out of context for this webinar. But yes, you can explore this anytime on Google. Just say how to start off with web development, content marketing, and so on. You'll find many resources. So yes, great. So I would suggest this book called HTML and CSS by John Duckett. Let me type it on the chat section. So this book which I typed in the chat section, HTML and CSS by John Duckett. This is the book with which I started off my journey, and it's quite cool. So yes, you can definitely go and check this out. It's ebook might be available on Google. You can just search HTML and CSS by John Duckett, free ebook. You will be able to find it on Google. So yes, after you are familiar with HTML and CSS, you can learn the basics of any design software: Photoshop, Illustrator, Sketch, or Adobe XD. This will actually help you out in figuring things out, like what's the hex code of the color, let's say what is the RGB value, and all those things. What font size should you use, and all those things basically. After you are done with that, you should start off with basic JavaScript. Here are various things you can actually try exploring in JavaScript. First thing is basic JavaScript. Don't jump onto any frameworks. Then explore about various data types. I know you must be saying that, hey, JavaScript is loosely typed language, right? We don't need any data types in that, but actually data types are, you don't actually need it here, but still you can learn data types in general, not with respect to JavaScript, because you'll be figuring out all those things like what type of your data is present. So yes, and after that you can actually try exploring TypeScript, which is actually a sort of wrapper over JavaScript, which allows you to have typed, which is various types and so on. So Vaibhav just asked the ebook link. I don't have the ebook link, Vaibhav. You can just Google it. It will be very easily available. Just type in HTML and CSS by John Duckett on Google, and the first link should be the ebook link. Yeah. Great. So functions, conditionals, and loops. So yes, just go through this very quickly. And your homework is, after you basically, these will take you around 2 weeks. HTML5 and CSS should take you 1 week, and JavaScript might take you 1.5 week. So the resources for you are HTML and CSS. Again, Vaibhav asked me the ebook link. Hey Vaibhav, I don't have the ebook link. You can just go to Google and search HTML and CSS by John Duckett ebook, free ebook, and you will be able to find it. This is your homework for that. Great. So for JavaScript, you can search for JS. You can try W3 Schools or Free Code Camp, or maybe any YouTube tutorial. It's super easy. It's super duper easy to get started with JavaScript and DOM manipulation and all those things. So yes, basically I always do this sort of analogy that HTML5, your website is a human being. HTML5 is its bones. CSS is its skin. How does the human being look? And JavaScript are its muscles. Basically your muscles and tendons and all those things help you move. JavaScript basically does that. Okay, so Vaibhav is saying I have shared that. Okay, so it might not be visible to everyone. Basically, YouTube does not allow sharing links in chat section, so it would be only visible to you, Vaibhav. So I would suggest everyone to just go on to Google and type it themselves, because links won't be actually available, visible on the YouTube chat. But anyways, yeah. So your homework for now is, once you have a strong hold on HTML, CSS, and JS, you just go to this website, getpostman.com, and it's a very, very clean and very beautiful website. Just try to clone it. What do I mean to clone it? Try to make a copy of this website by yourself. It's very simple and it's very beautiful. So you can a website of this sort, I guess, can be cloned within 3 or 4 days, but it will actually help you guys to understand things better. So yes. I see. Just give me a second. Okay. madhavhel.tech/sstc. By mistake, I closed the browser. Just give me a second. Going back there. Great, so we are back here. So yes, so now once you're familiar with the basic things like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, you might want to know how to deploy. So till now you can call yourself a web designer. Now you have HTML, CSS, and JavaScript in your hands. You will be able to make basic websites. You also know the basics of one design software like Photoshop. You know how to build static website and front end. So now you can call yourself a web designer. Before going further, these are the things which I suggest. None of them is absolute requirement, but I would definitely suggest learning about these. Learn about Git. So for Git, I might have mentioned here. Okay, so you can just go to medium.com and type my name, and you will be able to see many tutorials which I wrote on Git. Then SSH, then learn basic terminal usage or command prompt for Windows. Just basic. Just just go to any YouTube tutorial or anything, you'll be able to learn it. And then get a shared hosting account like HostGator, or I generally prefer for front end basically. For back end, GitHub pages won't work, but yeah, you can try out GH pages for your front end requirements. Then you can upload your project via FTP and so on. Basically, you can just go through this. This looks very difficult and overwhelming, but trust me, this actually this won't take 2 or 3 days for you to actually get started. Just search for Git tutorial on basically Traversy Media is a YouTube channel who has the Brad Traversy, who has uploaded a sort of crash course on Git. You can learn from him, or you can, there are various options. Just go to YouTube and search the tutorials. You can find out many. So resources are endless in this world. You just need to have, the most valuable thing is the roadmap. If you have the roadmap, you will never feel short of resources. There are endless free resources on in this world. On Google, you can learn almost anything. But the main thing which people lack is a sort of roadmap. Which technology should I learn? What should I do right now? So once you have the roadmap clear, you can get as many resources on YouTube and Google as you want. Great. So the opportunities for the things you have already learned till now. So this would just take 2.5 weeks, as I told you, to learn to become a web designer. In 2.5 weeks, after 2.5 weeks, you can explore these. You can. So the best thing about web development is these three things: earn as you learn. So these three simple words: earn as you learn. So web development allows you many opportunities to start earning money by various opportunities. You can work for a company as a front end web development or for developer, or a freelancer, or you can do your side projects, you can do internships, you can within 2.5 weeks of learning. That's quite amazing, right? So that's the beauty of web development. All right, so now is the time for decisions, whether you want to choose. So now, as someone chose front end or back end, Kaushal, yes, Kaushal asked me this front end or back end question. So now would be the time for your questions, whether you want to continue with front end or server side programming. If you go for server side, you'll have to learn databases as well. If you choose front end, you'll have to learn some front end frameworks and so on. So yes, here are the side technologies to learn before we make any further before we move on to the roadmap. So yes, basically for front end, for basic front end, the CSS frameworks can be Bootstrap, Foundation, Bulma, Materialize. You can try any one of these. And for server side programming, I would suggest Node.js, or even Dino is quite popular these days, but it's quite new. So yeah, try out Node.js. PHP is kinda old right now. There are lesser opportunities in PHP, but yeah, you can still try it out. But yes, Node.js is much more fun than PHP. At least I think that, but it's your choice at the end. Ruby has also got a great community. Django or Flask, and you can, but I would prefer Node.js. If you choose going on to with front end, you can choose JavaScript front end frameworks like React or Angular. If you go with server side, you can choose databases. So if you're going with PHP, MySQL might be your choice. If you're going with Node.js, MongoDB might be your choice, and so on. Yeah, server side technologies to learn. As I told you, Git and GitHub, or any other version control. But yes, just ignore this part. Any other version control. Git is the most important these days. Almost all companies use Git. So yes, learn Git. SSH, basic command line. And after this, you can learn more advanced things in CSS like Sass or Less. These are basically pre-compilers. You can learn about APIs, REST services, and so on. You can learn about HTTPS and SSL, all these protocols. So yeah, after you have this knowledge, you can get a shared hosting accounts and so on. You can just basically deploy your projects. So yes, now talking about the opportunities as a web developer. So as a web developer, it might be a front-end developer, it might be a back-end developer, and so on, or maybe a full stack. You've got tons of opportunities right there. Let's talk about them. So you can either create simple to advanced web applications for your own self, startup or something like that. You can build back-end APIs as projects and so on. You can teach fellow developers like I'm doing. It's our duty to actually give back to the community, to actually help them grow and so on. So yeah, do definitely do this. Basically, let me tell you one thing about Feynman technique. So Feynman technique says that we learn best when we teach. Teach others to learn more. Basically, when you teach someone else, you yourself get to learn many new things. So yes, start teaching people. A very simple example would be just go to LinkedIn right now. Let me show you. Go to LinkedIn right now, click on that post button and type a small paragraph what all things, not right now, after this webinar. Basically, just go to yeah, let me just show you, or maybe it's out of context, so yeah, it's just an advice. You should actually start teaching, and you should start interacting with your fellow developers, networking and so on. So yeah, this would be my advice to you guys. After this webinar, go to LinkedIn and type what all things did you learn from today's webinar, and then mention my name. I would definitely love to see your post, and then just share your experiences with your fellow developers. What all did you learn? Share it every time. The best thing is documenting your journey. It builds credibility. Let's say you are starting your journey as a web developer. Let's say I can announce it publicly, like for next 30 days I will be learning technologies in web development. For first few days I'll be learning web development. For next few days I'll be HTML. For next few days I'll be learning CSS. For next few days I'll be learning JavaScript, and so on. Once you do that, once you announce in public, you get this sort of thing in mind that yes, I've announced it publicly, and I should actually do this because people are I've announced it publicly, right? So it's coming on to your credibility. So yes, once you do that, after sharing it daily, share it daily, whatever you learn. Just keep out 15 minutes at the end of the day, and whatever you learned that day, maybe you might have read a book, you might have worked on a new technology, just share it, post it on LinkedIn, so that and people can see your story, and people can actually see the things which you are learning. So yes, definitely you should do that. And once you do that, basically it builds a lot of credibility in the viewers. Let's say I'm posting for 30 days continuously. After 30 days, my viewers will know that yes, this guy has spent 30 days into learning a technology and he is a pro in this. So yes, this will increase your opportunities. Okay, let's not waste too much time in that. Okay, so now you can work with servers, you can work with databases, you can work with network security, you can get a job, you can do freelancing, or you can start your own startup or business. You can definitely go through the steps after this webinar. So you might know this link. So this link is madhavvel.tech/sstc, and the advanced concepts. So advanced concepts comes like the content management systems and so on, and mobile application development. So for you might be having this aim in mind, like at the end of the day, I need to create very huge web applications like Facebook, like Instagram, or maybe like Tinder or LinkedIn. But you might not be able to do that in a day. So but remember that Rome was not built in a day. It takes in a lot of hard work. So yes, go step by step. Have deadlines. Let's say you spent first week in HTML, next week in CSS, then 2 weeks in JavaScript, then you plan a side projects for 2 weeks. And so don't over don't overestimate the value of time. Spend time properly learning technologies, because you can't learn everything in a day, right? So just spend time on that. Then the next steps can be keep learning, exploring other domains like machine learning, computer vision, and so on. Focus on your career, make a good profile. Again, I'll just tell you the importance of making a good profile, because let's say there's a person X and there's a person Y. Person X has a great profile, a great LinkedIn profile. A person Y is nowhere available on internet. Person X gets attracts opportunities comes to person X, but person Y has to go on to search for opportunities. So this is a huge difference, right? If you have a great online presence, great profile, people will know that this guy is credible, this guy, people will trust your skills, and people will approach you with their opportunities. And whereas the person Y, who is nowhere to be found on internet, has to go and search for the opportunities. So yes, the simple steps to make a good profile is Just after this webinar, just go to LinkedIn, post whatever, summarize what all did you learn from today's webinar, mention me and click on that post button, and do this daily for, let's say, 30 days. Learn one single technology, and let's say HTML. Just share what all did you learn in HTML, CSS. Just share what all did you learn in CSS. Maybe on LinkedIn, maybe on Twitter, whatever you like. But make sure you do that. Okay, and go back and learn another stack or learn other domains. Keep yourself self up to date with technologies. Do some research and learn some other language and so on. There are endless things. So this is a 20-10 rule which I recommend people. So spend 20% of time in learning and 10% in implementation. But don't forget about, not 10%. Oh my God, what I'm saying. 10 ratio, basically. You can say that spend 2/3 of your time in learning and spend 1/3 of your time in implementation. But never forget about this 1/3 of your time. It's implementation is very, very important. So there's this concept of active learners and passive learners. A passive learner is someone, from all the people, I can say that at least 80% of you will be passive learners. You'll just watch this video. You'll just you just watch this video and you'll go back and you'll forget about it, and you'll watch another video, you'll forget about it, you'll watch tens and thousands of YouTube tutorials, but you won't implement it. Unless and until you implement it, you will learn nothing. You are just wasting your own time by watching all these videos endlessly. Be an active learner. Spend time to implement things. Unless and until you implement, you won't be learning anything. All right. This was the book, John Duckett, HTML and CSS. So yes, coming on to our final topic for today, the technologies which might help you in 2020. So yes, first thing is React, Redux and Webpack. I have mentioned some resources. Why? Because React is growing rapidly, like it's an exponential growth. How to learn? I have mentioned a few resources. GraphQL, I have again, the graph is growing exponentially, and I have mentioned this Udemy course and this webinar, this YouTube video. It's a 4-hour YouTube video. Just go through it. You can learn about progressive web apps. Where to learn, I mentioned. You can learn React Native or Flutter or both. These are basically for developing native apps, for mobile apps, the desktop apps, the iOS apps, and so on. I mentioned a few resources as well. And then Rust or WebAssembly. Even I'm not very much familiar with these things, but yes, you can definitely try it out. And be an active learner. Go to LinkedIn and post what all did you learn today, and don't forget to mention me. Great, so that's it, guys. This was all about today. If you guys have any question, feel free to reach out to me, and that's it. Thank you so much for attending, and let's take on the final doubt before leaving today. Prateek just asked me that, hi sir, how can we get a good web development internship and how to prepare for interviews for that? All right, Prateek, so first thing is, this is a huge topic to talk about, how to get internships. So first thing is, this is basically, let me share you some with you very quickly. The slides which I made from my previous webinar. It is in madhavbahel.tech/job guide. Let me share it with you. Let's see if this is, yes, this is working. Great. So just go through this, Prateek. So basically what I recommend is, getting a job is divided into two phases: getting the interviews and cracking the interviews. So for getting the interview, you might need a strong profile, or you might need some good side projects. So what I recommend generally is basically, what you can do right now is you can make a list of 50 or 60 or 100 companies in which you want to work in. Then keep an active eye on their off-campus drives, on their job openings and so on. Apply in 2 or 3. See what all result did you get back. Do you even get any response? It's a high probability that you might not even get any response. See why did you not get any response. Introspect, see your profile, build side projects, improve your profile, and then start applying again. If you still don't get any response, improve your profile even further, start blogging, increase your online presence, and so on. And so if you still don't get it, I mean, keep exploring, keep on working until you get that first response. After you get your first response, give the interview and think and see how did your interview go. After you are done with your interview, if you get selected, it's cool. If you did not get selected, see where did you went wrong. Ask from your recruiter, like any feedback for me on how can I grow or how can I learn, and so on. This is an endless process, Pratik. There's no particular fixed algorithm, but the main thing is keep trying, keep applying, and side by side keep increasing, keep improving your profile. So yeah, that's it. If you guys have any doubt, I'm still here for 5 more minutes. If you guys have any doubt, you can share it on the chat, live chat, and definitely you should. I would suggest you guys to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm present socially. I'm active, and these are my accounts. So you can follow me on Instagram. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, on Facebook, Medium, and GitHub. Do connect with me and keep in touch. It was wonderful speaking with you guys, and once again, sorry for starting late, but it was basically some technical issue from the organizer side. But these things happen, right? These things keep on happening, so it's not an issue. So yes. Okay, so Bhanu asked how to grab freelancing project. First of all, choose your websites. Like I would suggest 2 or 3 websites like freelancer.com or something like that, Angel List or something like that. You can start off with freelancer.com. Apply, make your profile, add your projects, add your resume, and then they will suggest you some good projects to work on. Grab your first opportunity, even if they pay you less. Grab it and do a great work, but make sure it's taking not more than 1 or 2 months. Your first opportunity, and then once you do that, add it on to your freelancer profile and try to get a few recommendations from the people you work from, and then keep growing like that. So yeah, but after 2 or 3 freelancing projects, you will be very confident in freelancing, and you will start getting high paying offers for freelancing. Great. So do you guys have any more doubts, or should we wrap up the session? So I think we don't have any more doubts. It was wonderful talking to you guys, and it was definitely a pleasure connecting with you all. And you guys were a fabulous audience. Just be an active learner. My only advice with you for you right now is you spent 40 minutes on this video. I spent 40 minutes speaking on this video. Don't waste it. Be an active learner. Do side projects. Implement the things which I taught you. Go to LinkedIn right now and just share with your audience, share with your network what all did you learn, and that will make you an active audience. Great. So be an active learner, and thanks a lot. We should end this session right now. It was great talking to you. Thanks a lot, ACM, for calling me here and organizing this event. Let's end this now. Bye bye. See you later, and stay in touch with me on LinkedIn. My username is Madhav, and